But when it comes to magazines, actually the news is pretty good because the ads in magazines are found to be least annoying. Notice the figure is only 10%. Ads in television are the most annoying, 51%. So you're on to a good wicket there too. Fortunately, consumers who read your magazines don't find the ads annoying as they do in other media. The third thing which appealed to me is that when people read magazines, they read it with undivided attention. Fortunately, everybody is not like a social media expert from Foxy Moran trying to do 5 things at the same time. Of course, he did not mention that he was reading also a magazine at that time. Possibly if he was, then he wouldn't have done anything else. So it is true that I think in today's day and age, magazines do offer the advertiser undivided attention. He may not be spending too much time on magazines, but when he does spend that time, he is spending it undivided, which I think is a great sales story for magazines. Magazine ads are noticed and are considered highly influential. That means I have here some 8 or 10 important factors that brand managers look for, as something that builds a medium. So say I pay attention to or notice ads is as indexed at 145. That means 50% more people are saying this about magazine ads compared to television and websites, including websites, mind you. So for all said and done, for all the growth that digital is going through, and if I may say so, digital is the only medium that has grown by 35% year on year for the last 5 years. Digital in India is the only medium that has actually gained market share at the expense of everything else, including television. The share of television has actually come down from 45% to sub 40%, if you are to believe our Pitch Madison advertising outlook figures. In that context, I think it's very important to recognize that ads in magazines are noticed and also influential in taking their point across. And I think my last point, and this is also very important in the kind of society that we live in, where there are a bunch of people who get recognized as the influencers, and the vast majority of people seem to follow these influencers, and magazines seem to influence these influencers. Now, according to me, it's a very important point, because for anything to take root or to take shape, you first need to talk to the influencers, and a lot of studies seem to say that magazines, or the right kind of magazines, can in fact influence the right kind of influencers. So I do believe, and the reason why I repeat these is I thought these are 5 facts that kind of appeal to me as a buyer, and brand managers and advertisers ask for our advice on what they should do, and they appeal to me. So I thought I should repeat these to you, not that you don't know them, but I think you should repeat this often in your sales pitch, because as you know, nothing sort of sinks in today till you have said it a million times. So these are 5 very important points that appeal to me, and I wanted to highlight them to you. So we at Madison have a tool called M-Spectra. M-Spectra is actually a unique proprietary tool that estimates combined reach across media. It's a slightly difficult thing to do when you don't have single source data. So how do you take IRS data on readership, and how do you take TAM data on viewership, and how do you combine the two by saying, if I took so many insertions in Femina and if I took so many insertions on KBC, then what is the combined number that I would reach? So we have something like that. It's not an exact science, but it's an approximate sort of science. And it tells us that in television, if you are running a mega brand, and if your reach objective is more than 70, that means you want to reach 70% of the people at least once, then, and if you're going to use only television, thinking that television is the mass medium and television is the cheapest medium, that once you go beyond 70, then actually television becomes a very expensive medium. And that is the time that you should seriously begin to look at other media. So therefore, according to me, the right way for you would be to look at those brands which are very heavy on television and tell them that, look, if they actually took out 10% of their television budget and put it in print, I must confess, newspapers here work better than magazines, but magazines also do work, you could actually, in a combined way, reach more people more cost efficiently than you did with television alone. And there's actually some data, some very serious hard data from UK, where we have a very strong television measurement system called BARB, and we have TGI. And what this data shows, that shifting 25% of budget from television to magazines for a mega plan actually can result in an increase in GRPs from 400 to almost 500 amongst all women, increase reach from 73% to 87%, and especially if you're trying to get light viewers of television, then television, it's known, is not adequate, because in television there is this concept of light viewers, and if you try to reach the light viewer through television, it's going to be a very expensive job for you to achieve. And I think this coming in UK, where television is also very strong, is a kind of significant news. And I think in India also in television we are going down this road. In many of these studies that we've done, magazines comes across as quite important in playing a key role in amplifying it's suitable for my needs. So what essentially this data is trying to tell me is that magazines don't seem to do a good job in the early stage of the purchase funnel. As you know, we in advertising believe that there is a purchase funnel. So you start with awareness and then you ultimately end with buying. And as you come down, the funnel becomes very narrow. Magazines don't do a very good job at the top end or at the broad end. So they don't serve the role of creating awareness and message association, and all seem to be weak. That's the domain of television. But as you come to the narrow end of the funnel, inducing trial, influencing opinion, and ultimately purchase, magazines seem to do a very good job. Third broad point is, when it comes to magazines, we have seen that, yeah, sure, pure vanilla advertising may give you the revenue, but it does not give the brand adequate results. You do something interesting, a little bit different, a little bit more interesting, and I think the returns are dramatically different. So for example, a vanilla ad, if that is indexed at 100, say an insert can give you 12% higher, any other kind of innovation can give you 20% higher, and sampling takes the top box at 141. So, basically if you found some way of minimizing leakage of samples, then you are on to actually a very good thing. I do feel that magazines occupy a sort of very strong and small niche, My advice to advertiser to y'all as publishers, and I believe most of you in the room are publishers, would be rather than fight in the entire advertising market of now 37,000 crores, you need to find a niche for yourself. That niche, according to me, is engagement. Do a lot of work and focus only on that, and make your sales pitches also be on engagement rather than exposure. Thank you very much.